Welcome to News Video Clip. If you were watching last week, we posted a video of a Trump supporter in Ohio, a single mom with two kids who was crying because she couldn't afford gas and she couldn't afford groceries. Now we have another Trump supporter who's upset. This guy says he feels betrayed by Trump because Trump's ICE agents detained his immigrant fiancee at the Houston airport. So let's listen to this interview by CBS.
I feel totally betrayed. I mean, you never think, or I never thought a guy like me would ever be involved in anything like this. 8 officers, ICE agents, swarmed Jasmine, detained her, didn't tell us why, and rustled her off into a car. No explanation was given. I was just in total disbelief. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. You know, I have several businesses. I'm law abiding and I pay a lot of tax.
So here we go. This guy goes, "Oh, I can't believe it happened to me." Really? Because last time I checked, when Trump ran in 2024, all he did was talk about detaining and deporting immigrants. And this guy can't believe it happened to his precious immigrant fiance that she was detained, just like Trump promised. Wow. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Okay, now we're going to go to the White House where President Trump fell asleep once again, and he did it while his NIH director was trying to explain something about autism. Let's watch the clip.
Take this extremely seriously, as we have been for the last year and a half, and more of the presidency. At the NIH, what we've done is we have established the Autism Data Science Initiative, which started almost a year, actually more than a year ago, where we funded a dozen and more major research teams to answer the question of what is the cause of autism.
Okay, so Trump is then finally waking up as this guy drones on and on. He has no idea what causes autism, but Trump is still convinced, without any scientific evidence, that childhood vaccines cause autism. This has never been proven by any legitimate scientist, and Trump has decided to sign an executive order to try to ban some childhood vaccines and delay others. So let's listen to this 80-year-old science denier.
At 1 year, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than getting them all in the same day. And I saw this early on, and I've seen proof of it, where they have a vaccination that looks like the size of a bottle of soda poured into a little child's body. And bad things happen in too many cases, because this is an explosion. This is an epic.
Okay, first of all, Trump's lying, and no, they don't pour vaccines the size of soda bottles into children. That's absolutely ridiculous. Trump is a science denier, and he's a complete fool. And he listed off some other vaccines he wants to ban for children in his executive order. Let's watch the clip.
So year 1, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all in the same day. Very importantly, vaccinations for hepatitis B, COVID-19, and influenza, among others, are no longer recommended for all children. In addition, this executive order directs the Attorney General to advance legal challenges against states that violate children's rights to religious or medical vaccination exemption.
That violates children's rights not to be vaccinated because their parents don't believe in vaccinations. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Trump has always been an anti-vaxxer. He's always been a conspiracy theorist. So let's see. What do people who believe in science, what do they think about Trump's executive order? Well, the American Academy of Pediatrics condemned Trump's executive order reducing the recommended childhood vaccines from 8 to 11 diseases, and Trump's splitting the combined MMR shot. Pediatricians warned that this unscientific executive order leaves children vulnerable to diseases, reports the Washington Post. And don't forget, Trump has cut Medicaid for poor families. That goes into effect next year. So if a child comes down with a disease because they didn't get vaccinated and the parents can't afford to go to the doctor because they've had their Medicaid cut, that is all on Trump and his pro-life Republicans. That is all on them. And it's disgusting. It really is. Okay, now we're going to go over and listen to Trump's disgusting Vice President, J.D. Vance. He was on Fox News where he claimed, without any evidence, that God had sent a message to him when a glass fell off a wall. Okay, Jennifer Welch at I've Had It has this clip from Fox News. Let's watch the clip.
I talk, for example, about this, moment that I had at a conference where a friend and I were talking about Christianity and talking about Catholicism. And there was this moment where a glass fell off the wall at the point of our conversation where, I think an atheist would dismiss that as, oh, who cares? A glass fell off the wall. But at that moment, it felt like God was trying to send me a message.
Yeah, I'm an atheist. I'm dismissing that. God was not trying to send you a message, J.D. Vance, because if he were to send you a message, it would look more like the teachings of Jesus. It would be more like, hey, quit being such a racist prick and stand up for the marginalized. For him to pitch on Fox News, and this hits hard on Fox News, that somehow he is some messenger of God who is secretly communicating with God, while at the same time he cannot stand up for universal human rights. He cannot condemn racism. He cannot stand up for the sick, the poor, the hungry, because he doesn't even know who he is. This is the guy a few years ago who was like, Trump is America's Hitler. And then Peter Thiel buys him off. And now this is what we have. We have this, little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson light, where all these guys claim they're communicating with God. They are lying. They are pathologically lying, and they are using faith. They are weaponizing Christianity to lure in the base. They're lying to them.
This is absolutely true. And the numbers have proved it. I think 85 to 90% of evangelicals actually support 34-time felon and adjudicated rapist Donald Trump. So J.D. Vance is, he's obviously supporting Trump, but he's also trying to push, he's trying to get those evangelicals to get on board with his 2028 presidential run. So he's looking 2 years ahead. But Jennifer Welch is absolutely right. If God actually did send a message to J.D. Vance, it would be something along the lines of what Jesus said about helping the poor, feeding the hungry, providing shelter for the homeless. That's what the message would be. It would actually line up with the Bible. Okay, now we're going to go over to Face the Nation. And Bernie Sanders called out AIPAC, which is Israel's lobbying arm. They spent $30 million in the Democratic Senate primary, just the primary, to try to defeat Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, who, by the way, supports universal health care. And Bernie Sanders condemned AIPAC for doing this. Let's watch the video.
We're not talking about disarmament. We're talking about within the Democratic primary, not in the general election. The campaign finance system today is corrupt. In Michigan, what you had is AIPAC spending $30 million in the Democratic primary trying to defeat Abdul. They lost. And now they're saying, we're going to support this guy, Rogers, who is a Republican. So what you are seeing is it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican, he's special interested. It's not just AIPAC, it's the AI people, it's crypto. They will take over the primaries and try to get their point of view through, get their special interest accomplished, regardless of which party is. So to me, it is insane that the Democrats would allow somebody to come in, an entity to come in that will then, if they lose, go into the
This is absolutely true. And isn't it interesting that Israel can interfere in U.S. elections and only one person, Bernie Sanders, is on TV calling them out? Why is everyone so afraid of Israel and their lobbying group, AIPAC? Why is Israel allowed to interfere with U.S. elections? Russia isn't, China isn't, but for some reason, Israel is. Anyone got any answers? Alrighty, those are all the stories we have for today. We have links to all of our stories right below this video. Unlike the right-wing podcasters, the right-wing paid influencers, talking about Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, Jimmy Dore, Benny Johnson, Riley Gaines, Kristen Hawkins, Lila Grace Rose. They're all paid liars. They never back up their claims. We back up every single story in every single podcast. And I want to thank everybody who subscribed to this podcast. If this is your first time watching, please like and subscribe, or you can hate and subscribe. Or if you could hate me and subscribe, just make sure you subscribe. And we'll be back later with more stories.